Hey, Cleaning and Cocktails family, it's another episode in the studio. And you guys know that I love doing the episodes in the studio because then I get to have fun with my boy Ricky here, Ricky Squared, right? And then I also get to invite fellow cleaning business owners, which you guys know the show is about cleaning business owners, sharing their stories, professionals in the industry, giving us a lens in what they do every day. Right? Is that fun?
I love that. Love that intro.
So today we have Charlie and Rob from RamClean. This is, Charlie, I've grown to know in the industry. Rob, we've met a few times now. We've been communicating back and forth, trying to set this up. And it's not just to have you guys on the podcast, but yes, to share the story. But I feel like we were whiteboarding some stuff earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. Were we brainstorming?
That was great.
How do you feel about that?
Awesome, man. Fired up.
Well, don't tell anybody about it.
Oh, okay. Secret.
Yeah. So, but Charlie, let's start with you. So, first of all, guys, too, Charlie's CEO of RamClean. Rob is the CMO of RamClean. You guys have been together, I think, for 6 years, if I'm correct, right?
Yep.
Still married.
Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. So, Charlie, let's start with you because, Rob, you did let me know earlier on, like, I know you, Charlie, but I really don't know, like, the journey. And a lot of the point of these kind of episodes is, it's not all about the sunshine and the rainbows and the spotlights, the highs. It's about where did RamClean start?
Yeah.
Where did you start within the cleaning industry?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would like to say thanks, brother. I appreciate you having us out here. I was really looking forward to it. I know Rob and Gage he's in the background, and I appreciate, what your team has done and everything else before we even kick this thing off. But so RamClean, man, my dad's like, hey, go to college. I never really was.
I feel like you said you were cornered.
Yes. Yeah. He was like, go to college, blah, blah, blah. Get out of college. I'm sitting in my parents' basement, want to know what I'm going to do with my life since, I worked for the family business. Father owns a real estate company in Illinois. And my first paycheck was $870. And I'm looking to get married, buy a house, and have a dog. So I'm sitting there scratching my head. Always knew I wanted to be my own business owner, even if I was in the family business. So he was always like, hey, my uncle had a cleaning business. Why don't you just start cleaning some of our properties? And we sat every Tuesday at 2:30 at a commercial meeting. I kept looking at the AP and cleaning was on there every single month. And I was like, well, that's nice, reoccurring revenue, right?
Yeah.
And so I looked at our commercial property manager. I looked at my dad and I said, well, I'll start a cleaning company. I was driving down one of the main thoroughfares in Champaign, Illinois. And I said, what's it going to be? What am I going to call it? And I said, well, my last name's Ramshaw. I said, RamClean. I want to, and I called my graphic designer buddy from college and I was like, I need a tough Ram. And it's cool because in my office in Cincinnati, I got all the first original logos.
From the beginning. Yeah. That's cool.
So there's like a Ram with some soap. And then I was like, I need a tough Ram.
With soap. You don't need a Ram with soap.
Yeah. I was like, I need one with some grit. I'll give it some sparkle, right? Yeah. So decided on RamClean. Went out, had a relationship with Dick O'Neill, the vice president of a bank. And I was like, hey, I need a loan. I'm going to go buy this van, wrap the logo on the side, and started the cleaning business, right? Worked for my dad during the 8 to 5, go home, put on my gym shorts, and go clean the buildings. And that's, the first taste of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not a very good cleaner. Mm-hmm. So I hired my first employee, which is my brother-in-law. And just let it sit there really for a long time. Early on, I was buying properties out of foreclosure, and
so it's a high side hustle still. In the beginning, it was a side hustle.
Correct, 100%. Right. So had several different companies in the beginning, but really what stuck to me was the recurring revenue model. Right. Versus I had a painting company, and in the winter nobody wanted to do it. Springtime, hey, can you have 80 painters here? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And the cleaning can just build, like, you know what I mean? And then I didn't even know at the time when I was younger, the scalability till, of late, really in the last couple of years. But it's been a phenomenal journey. Well, I ended up, fast forward a little bit, wife and I get the house, get married. I was working, 16 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. I got awarded a contract for cleaning campus bars. And at the time I was like, this contract's huge, right? So employees would clean it Monday through Friday. I would clean it Saturday, Sunday with her. 3:30 in the morning, we'd show up, clean a campus bar. Absolutely the most disgusting thing you could go
and
through.
This is in Champaign?
Yeah, Champagne.
Yep. You have bars?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So just a mess, right? And so that's when I really knew my wife loved me. and started to buy into the dream, right? And so just, work through that. And really when I was forced to just make a decision of, hey, am I going to continue with the family business or am I going to just go all in with the cleaning? It was really all I had at the point to just go all in. So I started saying, okay, well, how am I going to grow this thing, figure it out? And I was like, talking to my brother and I said, hey, who's that guy you used that would just do all that crazy stuff for marketing? And he's like, oh, his name's Rob Thomas. He's a great guy. Call him. Our first conversation, we were on the phone for an hour and 45 minutes. I missed a walkthrough, had to send my manager at the time out with a bouquet of cookies by design to go make that potential customer happy. Me and Rob was like, love at first sight. He started working for me then through his own company at the time. And then RamClean was really off and running, right? So I would work at that time when it was, I don't know what, we probably had 20 employees. But then I would work, wake up on Monday in Cincinnati at 3 a.m, drive to Champaign, work tirelessly till about, Thursday, Friday, drive back to Cincinnati. Funny part is I don't tell a lot of people this, and then cashed out my 401k for my dad's family business, then hired a sales rep, wrapped her old car, and then just started in Cincinnati with nothing but a dream, right? So, and just grit, right? Got a couple contracts and then started doing it. And then RamClean we're operating now in 6 states, a bunch of cities, 275 employees plus, and changing every day. And then, like you said, I started getting connected to the cleaning profits and meeting other people and looking at the industry and continuing to grow and getting, other folks involved on the team. And then it's been a phenomenal experience. And, really it's tough, man, especially in the beginning. And we talked a lot about it today, the scale aspect in the beginning I was laughing with Gage this morning. I mean, I was selling the jobs, billing the jobs, checking on the accountant, doing the payroll, cleaning the job sometimes, organizing the stuff, you know what I mean? And that's the grit and the stuff that you talk about early on that you don't ever want to forget about. Now, like you say, with fantastic team members that I have on staff and everything that they've alleviated those issues for me now, you get to sit up and, like you talk about, all the sunshining moments. But, man, when you think back on those days of when we started and how we started to get to this point, and if you just said, hey, the size of your company now, would you I mean, I don't even know if I dreamed that big, especially starting out. It just kept going. And now you see where it can go. And, like we talked about earlier, what's out there, especially in what, technology's provided and as far as the platform. It's phenomenal, man. It's unbelievable. And being in a business where you get to touch so many lives, we're not selling a product. We get to impact lives, right? Just like you talked about earlier where, we're not selling a widget or anything. Like we're people, right? So then to be able to talk to them and have the relationships and impact their lives, like, in Cincinnati, I got a guy 3 years ago that worked for me at $12.50 an hour, now makes $65,000 a year. I mean, that's the same thing where he never even thought that was possible.
That's possible,
right? And those are the folks that we have on our team now that will run through a wall for what we've been able to provide and deliver, and just continue to do that, right? And just make an impact on our industry and do it a little different, right? We don't do sub model; we do all W-2 in every one of our cities. And it's just something I was a firm believer in. I was just always, hey, I could always package RamClean up and sell it as a franchise. And sure, at the top, I could have been eaten, right? I could have been like all the others, but, I guess this is a slow method, right? But for some, it's fast. But we get to control all the quality and what I've got to sell from the first account to what we get to sell now. And to me, that's meaningful. That's awesome.
I think we're going to have a problem, Charlie. Did you breathe? Did you breathe that?
Oh, he's got jokes.
Oh, no. I said, you guys,
for 5 minutes.
You guys thought that was flow.
No, that was good.
Dude, that was great. To wrap your pointer off the camera, I see what you mean, but dude, just you hearing you talk, man, it does show like you haven't forgotten where you came from. Like you remember those moments, like in detail, which, dude, kudos, respect to that, because a lot of people think, I see Charlie today, but you got to know Charlie from the beginning. So thanks for reminding me about that, Rob.
Yeah.
You could tell the way you explain that, dude. It's like you lived and breathed it, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
man.
gets you to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
And the biggest thing is to get to the point today where I'm still the same person that I was then, right? I still have the big heart, still love to, carry on and laugh and love and all those things where you see so many people where they get some success or whatever and they change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think our biggest thing, and especially from our culture standpoint, is that, open door policy, still walk in, similar to like you guys have, like when
I don't
you
even
walk
think
in,
there's a door order.
yeah, right. Just walk in, hug everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why these in person mean so much more to me than a Google Meet, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like to fly here with the team and do all this right here setting means way more than me. Like, hey, pop on a Google Meet. Yeah, like,
No,
this
please
can't happen
don't.
all the time. But like, this is phenomenal, right? And that's why for me, selling over the phone is so hard versus just when I get to meet the customer or potential customer. Then it's like, hair on the back of your neck stands up and it's go time, right?
So I'm gonna touch on that, but I got to get to Rob next.
Sure.
But I got some questions for you because you've told me about how you sell in person. But Rob, so obviously I see why you started working with Charlie, but like, when did Rob get into the cleaning space? Because you worked for advertising, correct?
Yeah, so I started out, I own a marketing agency. I had been doing that since the late 90s. And so I kind of started out like just building websites and then learning SEO, learning how to leverage the internet. And after having some success doing that, I started working with companies. And to kind of fast forward, as Charlie said, I was his brother was, and his family company was one of my clients, and so that so he calls me up, and we just get to talking and hit it off, and I just remember him saying like, "Hey, have you ever heard this guy Gary Vee?" And I'm like, "No way." We like knew the same people in marketing and stuff like that. Oops, leave this in. So
you even got his back like that. That's so cute.
see,
That's so
see.
cute.
He's always
He never knows what to do
up.
with his hands.
Yeah, I'm not as smooth as this guy. But anyway, I just started working with him as an agency. So it was just like we were going to just do a little bit at a time, start working on improving the website, improving SEO, improving running some advertising, and we started meeting like once a month and stuff like that. I mean, we did. He had an office there in Champaign, and it's the same area that I live. So we used to, meet up and talk about all the different things we could do. And it was kind of cool because he was wanting to go for it. He wanted to grow and was willing to invest in it, time, money, everything to try to grow. A lot of it, he was giving me some freedom to say, hey, let's try some of these things. And so we did that, and that was in 2017 when we started doing that. And as things went along, we started to scale, and then he wanted to go into Cincinnati. We just kept scaling like everything, how much work I was doing, how much ad budget we were doing. And the whole time he's saying, why don't you come work for a cleaning company?
just
and I'm
join-
like, I'm not
join
going
me."
to work for a cleaning company. I'm like, I already got my own business. Why would I do that? But, I could see it growing. And, even though I'm not the owner of the company, I'm watching people grow. I'm watching how the company's growing. It was cool to see. And then, I started working for him full time 3 years ago, and we've had success since then. And it's been a blast.
Man, so Ricky, jump in on you know more about marketing than I do, and like, is that common for you to see a CMO in a cleaning company?
Not really, and I have a couple of questions. Something that I want you to share with the audience. But before we answer that, I just want to point something out that you said, man, I'm working during the day, and then I leave that, and then I go work in my business. Because I see a lot of the times people asking questions in the Facebook groups, man, I have a full-time job. I want to open a cleaning business, but I don't have time. You did it. I don't know if you were working through the weekends too.
Yeah. 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay, take note. But going back to marketing, so another question that I used to have when I started my cleaning company, and for the first time, like, oh man, I need to invest in marketing. But I see also a lot of people have. What's a good budget? Because a lot of times they tell, well, if you don't spend, more than X, you're just wasting money. Because if you're gonna spend just a couple hundred, it's not gonna do anything. what's the approach for someone that, let's say that they have a small cleaning company, commercial cleaning company, and they want to I want to start doing some marketing. What's the best approach on what things they should do? What's the budget that they should be thinking about?
Yeah.
So let me jump in there real quick. So I was fortunate enough to have Jimmy John. That he started my dad to give his lease for a second location in Champaign, Suds. So he has corporate offices in Champaign, but he said early on, and we have a lot of similarities. After all the expenses were paid, every other dollar I would put into marketing in his business. Well, clearly you know how Jimmy John turned out.
Exploded.
So literally, I think you were like my third full-time employee, like third executive employee. Like where I should have had way more other operation people and other things. Like, I was like, that was my, you know what I mean? So like everything I had to reach where I had ambition was dollars spent to that.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
and that was just my decision.
Rob, what do you think about Chicago? It's a great city to
Oh,
live.
I love Chicago. Yeah, I mean, I've lived kind of in this area, and I went to Illinois State University, so like,
But like, what do you
all
think
my
about
friends.
what do you think about this office? The office we were
Oh
at
man,
earlier?
it's killer. Yeah.
Like, think about like how awesome it'd be to work there, right?
Hey, can you evaluate my website? Yeah, it's perfect.
By the way, great answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then from you, Rob, just something more tangible.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, when we started, I mean, the funny thing was he's like, I had this guy do some ads for me, and and he threw out a lot of money, and I was like, look, you got to clean this up and fix it. And it was just a small job. I think less than $1,000 to just like kind of fix it. And then we said, well, let's do the website. And we did it like kind of slowly. But the big key was that as it was working and improving, he was scaling up what he was spending, both in terms of ad budget and the things that you were doing. So if you're like a brand new company and you've got nothing, then sometimes like just printing a piece of paper and going to the post office and putting some stuff out there, doing the things that you could do, sending emails is going to be, just trying to learn how to do cold email. That's one of the cheapest things to do. So you could kind of start there. I think if you've got a little bit of a budget, say you've got like a pretty good business, a few cleaners, now you can do, I think starting with your website is a good idea. And ultimately, where there's a lot of opportunity to get leads is through search. Okay, so search will have paid search, and then there's organic search. But starting out with a good website, focusing on search, and then you can start out as small. The great thing about if you were going to start with something like Google Ads, you don't have to put $2,000, $3,000 in a month. You could do something like $300-$400 and start getting a lead, and then turn that into a sale. And then as you get more revenue from that, you invest a little bit more, and then you're in that. And this is really what he did until you get to the point where you can have actually a really big budget and afford to, hire a marketing person. You're not. Most people probably aren't going to do that. He just had the ambition and wanted to, and when it was working, like, okay, this is working. Let's just keep doing it. Let's do more. What more can we do?
Rob, I feel like that is like the ultimate. Like when I wish for something, or I always have an aspiration for something, it's like, tell me what to do, show me what to do. You guys were doing that as far as you didn't stay content, right? Like you guys said, you improved it, put a little bit more, improved it, put a little bit more. I think that is important here, where I'll tell you, my first approach to marketing was like, I don't need too much. You know what? Let's just do 500 a month for next year. Like that was my mentality, was just a little bit and the same every month, and just set it and quit it. And like I would move over, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys are like, no, you have to monitor, measure, improve, spend more.
It's
That's a good
important to
point.
know what you're getting. So everything we did is based on tracking. Okay, we're tracking it. What keywords are people finding? How much visitors are we getting? How many forms are coming in? How many calls do you get? A lot of people, they do like a bunch of things, and maybe they get a lot of calls, but they never even ask where they came from. So everybody in our company knows when you answer the phone to ask where they came from. Mm-hmm. We know, we have it. Now we have it well organized on HubSpot. So every single contact has a source. Where did it come from? Did it come from social media? Did it come from a Google ad? Did it come from organic? Was it a referral or whatever? So you need to know that, because you need to know what worked. You need to know where to, hey, this is working well. Let's keep doing this a little bit more. Even to the point like knowing which specific keywords produce the best,
ROI.
results. So, having that knowledge is very important. Because that also gives you the confidence to, if you're going to scale a budget, you don't have to just like blow everything into it. You scale. It's a great thing. This is a recurring business model in cleaning, so you can consistently scale and improve your results over time.
So another marketing, I mean, this is going to turn into a marketing workshop here, guys. No, but because I think you've done such a great job. So Rob, I'm going to touch on two things that we touched on earlier, but I did want to get back to you real quick, Charlie. When Ram and when you show up to walkthroughs, you have told me something that you do, or a lot of the times you guys just don't show up empty-handed.
Never.
What's
So
some
I think
sales tactics like you
sure,
guys
I
have
think
done?
I set the precedence right where I want to give more than I take right from the beginning. So what we do is show up with a RamClean bag, the RamClean themed Yeti inside, and then whatever the industry it is, the folder, the tech sheet, all the data that goes with it for them to understand who it is. My favorite pen, some koozies, and we give it to them, right? And depending on how many folks are there, we try to have that many bags appropriately. Even if, a lot, clearly we don't win them all or
You don't win
whatever,
them all,
but there's so many times on construction sites, you go back to the job trailer and there's the foreman right there drinking the coffee out of the RamClean mug. And you know what? Even it sits on their desk and it's a lasting impression. You don't take it and just throw that in the garbage, right? You're not like, oh, here's, Yeti.
No,
garbage,
I'll tell
right?
you, Yetis,
Yeah.
I've got like 8.
Yes.
And I do not throw a Yeti away.
Yeah. You know
I
what I mean?
will not throw it.
Yeah. So it just stays there. And it just sets the thing, right? Our biggest thing when we go in and sell something, and I take a creative approach, but is a partnership piece. I hate transactional business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, even from like our business, even floor care and everything else, I call it ATM money. I like reoccurring revenue. I like to plant our feet in there, and that's what's been successful for us, right? And you can set the tone real early with them, right? Like I don't want to come in here and, hey, in 6 months, I'm going to be looking for somebody else to bid. No, I want this to be set it and forget it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we're following up, we're hitting inspections reports, our llamas are all green and everything's good, right? So, you know what I mean? And it's one of those, and it holds true, right? I mean, and then that's why, as we continue to go to market, and especially like the different markets, it goes back to when I first started in Illinois, right? Back is against the wall. Can we sprint the first, especially the 90 days? How can we get up to, the revenue plane to be able to,
So it's like Groundhog Day all over again.
get out of the red, rinse and repeat, right? Yeah. So then, like we talked about today, that will how we can spread across North America the fastest way possible. But, I think, that's why I can control the quality from being all W-2 employees and having the way our hierarchy works. But yeah, man, and the biggest thing too is when I go to set up to sell, is they know why I'm there. I don't even talk about cleaning, right? I'm trying to make a relationship
because you're there for that already.
Yes,
like,
they already know why I'm
waste
there,
breath?
right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand the person and what I'm trying to alleviate and the pain points and everything else and what's interesting to them, right? I feel like I'm a chameleon. I've been able to be fortunate enough to be exposed to tons of different things throughout my life. And so anything really that's relates to them, I can relate to them. Yeah. The shoulders drop and we're talking about completely different things. The other day I was in Campbellsville, Kentucky, and the guy wanted to ride in my Rivian and he was like drooling over it. I drove out, punched it, and his head was pinned back, and he was like, "Oh my god!"
He's like, "Sold."
He's like, "Sold." Yeah, he's like, "This is the best thing ever." He's like, "You're not like any other cleaning owner." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not clearly, but in those things, you know what I mean. That and crack a joke and make things different and fun, and I don't want it to be the stuffy. Hey, you like this on an iPad? Is this something you want to do business with? No, like. You want to look at our website, you want to see the reviews, you'll see all that. But making a relationship with a person, because my biggest thing is the follow-up, where we go out to lunch with all our customers, when I'm back or wherever in Cincinnati and wherever it's at, to have lunch with them or breakfast and meet with them. And when you sit down with them, they're like, man, everything you told me when we originally met that you guys said you've actually delivered.
Yeah, that's big.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
retention.
that's what's huge for me.
That's retention right there.
For sure. And not only that, then they're like, oh, hey, by the way, we have 7 places for you to clean in Cleveland. And we have, another 10 in Columbus and more things.
So I feel that's a sense of recognition of your ability to scale then. Because if they ask you, right, you're from Cincinnati or you're in Champaign, hey, I've got locations in other cities, they trust the brand, they trust you, they trust the team to go out. Because normally in the past, that probably wasn't the way these people would do business, right? They would just say, oh, we assume you're not in that city. You're from here. So
Correct.
we're going to go hire somebody else.
Yes.
It's like they feel the need to ask you and say, hey,
For sure.
we're going to be going to St. Louis. Are you in St. Louis?
Correct.
No, but I can be. Awesome. Let's get you out there.
100%.
That's awesome.
And that's the things we ask, right? Like we want to do business with customers that have multiple locations across, because when they're talking to their ops people, they're like, you get to use this team, because where they returning, it's not like in a lot of other businesses like logistics where you can just say, okay, hey, run one load for me at a cost price. We'll have good customer service. Then we'll get
It's transactional.
No. We are getting the keys to their whole entire kingdom and embedding our team members in their facility. That's a big deal, man. And to prevent that changeover all the time is a huge deal, especially when they're like, we have the money. We're a humongous company. We don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Have it and take care of it, right?
So I'm sorry, I was going to jump in on a note that
Go ahead.
I remembered, Rob, you mentioned that we need to ask Charlie about Facebook residential early years. Can you share about that?
I mean, because we talk a lot now with our
This is the best.
with our with what we do now. We kind of have high minimums, and so a lot of our marketing and really our sales and marketing and even operation is built around bigger stuff. And so like our approach to that when we were discussing this earlier is a little bit different. But we started out, before he ever met me, he was working on Facebook. He was doing residential. He was starting his marketing before. It wasn't just me. He started that early on.
Yeah. So what was fun? The fun thing about the residential is B2C, right? Everybody could be a potential customer. Well, and back then, right? So the MSA of Champaign County, I don't know, 150,000 with students, or whatever. It's not even that big. So literally, sorry, Champaign, but every time back in the day, people would log on, there would be a paid ad of something of RamClean, right? I'd be giving away fireworks for the 4th of July with Yetis, entering drawings, contests.
So you were
videos.
marketing back in the day.
For sure, dude. And that was the fun part, because and I was like the home of the 99. We do like in a RamClean Express clean. Like I was doing all these fun things, and we blew the residential up. I think at the time before we let it go, I think we were up to 20 some women going out every single day, full calendars, the whole 9 yards.
Well, that is BDC is different then, though, right? Like you could
yeah.
you
For
could do
sure.
that B2C. You can't do that.
No, absolutely not. And I really enjoyed, especially in growing it, right? And getting the reviews and building that, the organic side. Like I said earlier, you just stomp on the competition. It was just and that was the gateway really to build the brand as a cheap, economical, but fun way, right? That's what I enjoyed doing. Like I said, I wanted people to go to sleep, seeing, as they're scrolling before bed, thinking of the ram, jumping at them. You know what I mean?
Instead of the sheep, you got
and
the
then
ram.
you'd be walking around in Champaign, they'd be like, dude, every time I log into Facebook, you're doing something, and the ram is there. And it was fun, man. It's just one of those things where you get to this, you get to continue to scale. It's just something that you're building those residential.
Well, it carries along with you.
Yeah.
Well,
Carries along with you.
Yeah.
I'll say this too. So a lot of people want to just go right and hey, I want to do nothing but big B2B. I just want to do $5,000 a month and higher and things like that. But one of the huge benefits of doing that was we built up following. He had a following. He's still very active on our social media. People kind of get to know you. It helps with recruiting. It's huge because a lot of people that say that they've applied for our jobs have checked out our social media. The second thing that's good is that even people that are considering the bigger customers, they usually look at your social media and your website
Nowadays,
and everything, and they want to
yeah.
see who are these people that we're getting ready to go into business with. So being active helps, but the big thing was we built up a huge number of reviews because we have like a monstrous. So it's a lot easier to build up reviews, and everybody if they're going to look up a company, and this is any business, they're looking at your reviews. So it was pretty beneficial for us to like build up this. So even though there were downsides to it and it was a smaller business, there were a lot of positives. So especially if you're like a fairly new cleaning company, I think doing smaller stuff and doing some residential can be beneficial to getting a good start in that.
Rob, that's a great point. Like as I'm thinking, like we built up most of our reviews early on. Yeah. We had the time to ask. We were like,
because it takes
yeah,
relentless asking, bro. Because no one's like, oh, you just send me a review. Of course I'm reviewing.
Yeah.
No, like
I gotta send it 10 times. Like,
yeah, just like a sale, right?
Just hit me a 5.
7 to 11 touches, right? I mean, it's crazy. And then you try to make the link and make it easy as possible, but it's still like a lot of follow up, and they don't understand how important that is to to a business.
It's a compounding effect.
Yes, especially like we talked about earlier, going to these new markets and setting the tone. And back then too, my brother-in-law owned a wrap shop. So then I was buying all the cars, and we were wrapping them with big Rams on them. So then
I was going to say that's why I keep saying wrapping. I'm like, how did you just know about wrapping this whole time?
So then not only that, actually Amazon talked about it. They didn't understand the benefit once they put all the vans out, what that did to their brand. But even in ours, on a small scale, a lot smaller scale, but even Champaign, you see 6-7 vans running around with big Rams on it. People are curious, right? Like, what is all this about? And then you look at it, they're like, it's just that funnel, right?
It's funnel.
So it all works.
So on that then, Rob, you had mentioned the difference between lead gen and brand awareness.
Yeah.
Like what are those two differences?
They both work together. They're both very important. But I would always say, like, especially early on, like lead gen is your lifeblood. Like you have to be getting in and getting new customers in order to build. And it's important in any business, but in a recurring model business, it's huge because like it's one thing to say, well, you have to have lead gen to do, say, roofing a house or something. Well, someone's gonna roof a house one time, and then they're very likely not gonna use you again. They're gonna either move or it's gonna be 25, 30 years before they do that. But in this business, you're getting recurring revenue. So if you can generate the lead and then you can service the account, you are getting that recurring revenue that's helping to build. And then you're going to take some of that and do some of the brand work, or brand work being, like you said, wrapping a car. So, you had mentioned before, like you're a brand new, it was good to do that. But if you were a brand new company and had a limited budget, you would want to make sure you're spending like maybe 70% on lead generation and then like 30% on brand, something like that. That would be and some brand is good, like flyers, not flowers. Flyers and even a few Yetis isn't bad, but like having a box of Yetis and then not going on any walkthroughs isn't going to really help you out, right?
That's a good point.
So you got to make sure you're bringing them in, and then the same thing. Like a lot of the old way was doing television commercials, and you still see local companies do that, but it's generally just a little bit more expensive. It's going to be a lot more expensive. You're going to get less leads. It's going to be good for your brand, but you're going to get less leads. So make sure you're doing lead gen as like your primary form of marketing.
Yeah, the biggest thing we're going to be is your day trading attention, right? Like the old, sign up for the lemonade stand. Where can you go where you get the most eyeballs for the least amount of money?
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, Ricky, early on, you wrapped your truck. You had an office. Branding was big. Yep. You were early business, residential to commercial. Is this resonating?
Yeah, I definitely fell at the lead generation. I put more money in brand awareness than lead generation.
75% brand awareness.
And now I see that difference. So no, I completely agree. I wanted to touch a little bit more on sales, but sure. I think we were going on a break.
Yeah, so we have to go on a break. We got to hear a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back, guys. Cool?
Break. Sounds good.
Hey, cleaning industry professionals, did you miss out on the Cleaning and Cocktails event in San Jose? No worries, we've got you covered. For a limited time, you can get your hands on the entire event recording. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. This is 16 hours of pure gold featuring 49 of the industry's experts who are spilling gems on everything from strategy, SEO, execution to marketing, cutting edge technology, AI, and even critical importance on mental health and physical wellness in the workplace. And the best part is, you get unlimited lifetime access. That's right. You could revisit these episodes and these sessions anytime you need a boost, a new idea, or just a refresher on the latest trends and tactics. Even though the live event has passed, the networking doesn't stop. We all know that. By getting access to this webinar, you're connecting with a community of driven professionals who are all about taking their business to the next level. We are what? Stronger together, right? And here's a little bonus. Did you know this educational content might be tax deductible? Yep. Hang on to the receipt and confirm with your accountant after you make your purchase. So click the link below. This is a limited time offer and the clock is ticking. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Secure your spot and start transforming your business today. Remember, this is your chance to learn from the best, build your network, and get the tools you need to dominate in the commercial cleaning industry. So act now before it's too late. Welcome back. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, do it again.
I've done that before. Okay, welcome back to Cleaning Cocktails. So I have a question about sales, because we got it. So you provide the leads, marketing is doing great. Charlie, you close the leads, you do great at sales.
Yeah, my team sells the leads. The big ones I show up on them. Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's where my question is, because you're awesome, you have a great personality, you're a character. How do you bottle up Charlie and scale? Because to scale, you have to have the team.
Sure.
So how do you train your team into being Charlie?
Yeah. Nonstop coaching, right? Role playing, texting, showing up on site, letting them lead, step in when you have to. And the biggest thing too, right, is confident. Guys, we're selling a quality product. You got to show up with confidence.
Yeah.
Everything else after that will be fine, but just be confident, right? We're not selling a shit service. We're selling quality. So if we show up and we're confident, we deliver the Yeti, we deliver the bag, they get to see that. They've already done the research on us. They're calling us for a reason. We'll be confident on what you're delivering, right? So, and at the end of the day, like I always say, I'm not SpaceX. I'm not taking the rocket to the moon. We're just cleaning around it. Keep it simple, stupid. It's just cleaning, right? Like if we deliver on the human aspect with good people and well-trained and all that stuff, then we'll deliver on what we're selling to the customer, right? So, I mean, the big thing is we continue to do it, in the sales meetings and with the people and flying all over and continue to train. And
So the coaching never stops.
never stops. Right, and that's where I spend all my time with the sales folks and continued revenue growth. My COO and my operations team, I spend very little time in, and they do their thing. They understand what I want and what I want to achieve, and then we go from there. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is as we continue to build out the different cities is with the reps. You got to have confidence. Got to sell.
So,
Here's another thing we do too. We send everybody out with a flyer that's got his picture on it.
so it's a little bit of Charlie at every
So
moment.
yeah,
Yes,
So
a little bit of Charlie and everything.
Rob,
Yes.
Rob and Charlie. So we're talking sales, marketing, sales, right? Like there's always, it's not one, you need both, right? Both need to be done. You're in multiple states. You guys are scaling. Like kind of to piggyback on what you said, Ricky, too, is, okay, so you bottle it up, you're coaching, you're helping there. But what about in the different cities? Like, do you have leadership in every city, or like who takes on the role of leading the sales and marketing? I guess marketing could be done from HQ,
Sure.
corporate, right?
Sure.
But sales,
Yep.
you need boots on the ground.
Yep, 100%. So I have a sales manager, director of sales, that then I sit over the top of him, and then obviously each city has their own rep.
Okay.
So when the leads come in and what they're doing, that they're the ones that we're coaching and training and teaching and all that. So, yeah, I mean, and the other thing too is that like sometimes like in Florida, I knew we weren't going to be there all the time. So we recruited somebody that was already in the industry, had 5 years experience, worked with several companies, sold national accounts, because I knew I wasn't going to be there. Paid more, but got more right up front, right? There wasn't the ramp up time in our industry, the learning experience to understand. He already spoke the language, understand how to bid. And that's the other thing too. I mean, that's huge for us when you go there, is hit them in the DMs, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you looking for someone else, looking for a different opportunity, looking to come for an exciting company?
Right? Like the people that are the great people aren't looking.
No.
They're with somebody already.
Correct.
So you got to find them, right?
Yes.
So
I got to get them divorced.
let me ask you this, if you don't mind sharing
Sure.
too, between the both of you guys, like, because it is one of the biggest questions and topics in our mastermind groups is like, not that you have to say what you paid, but like, what do you pay? How do you do the commission? Like, what is a good like trigger and like the traits and like a comp plan, not numbers. Don't worry about the numbers, but like, how do you attract a good salesperson?
Sure. An attractive, no cap commission structure, first of all.
Okay.
Then after they hit certain thresholds, I have various things. They hit their first number, they get an extra 5,000. They hit their second number, they get a Rolex.
And these are milestones.
Yeah, they hit.
Did you say Rolex?
Yeah, they hit, and they're high numbers.
Hey,
right?
you're not working, Jesus. You got a job. You already got a full time job.
But listen,
Jesus is going to be over in Ohio. I'm going to be over here.
The third criteria, I'll take their whole family on vacation, wherever they want.
But
right?
these are
big numbers.
These are big numbers. So
right.
if you attain them,
sure.
There's no, why not?
I want to put him on the spot
I want
with
to
numbers.
dangle the carrot.
But not based on your company, but again, someone that
Like what's a good number?
someone that has 10 employees, they have some kind of budget. They trying to hire someone for sales.
Sure.
What's a good number to start base salary and commission for them, for a company that just
Like
started?
a million in sales.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I think when we first started, I think we were at 55 base plus commission structure.
Uncapped.
Uncapped.
Because that's
Yeah.
the goal, right? Is like
Yes.
they got to be able to see that if I'm uncapped, dude, I could double my salary.
Well, yeah, and especially
because
if you
I'm selling and I'm
yeah.
hungry. Right?
And the biggest thing too is when you just drive around, like we're in Chicago, every single building gets cleaned every night.
Yeah.
And a lot of people before you don't realize that, but it's happening, right? And so then everything, like it's funny, like you get a new rep, they're like driving around taking pictures and looking at like, oh, this, like they never thought about that before, right?
Yeah.
Changing the way you look, taking the blinders off, changing the way you look of how to go out and make it versus, sitting in a retail sale where they come to you and hey, you like that couch? Great. You like this cell phone?
It's not true sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just, it's different, right? And it's selling and developing sales reps is a challenge. And to keep them motivated and to keep them hungry, because the at bats, especially when you're just cold calling or networking, it's hard. And that's the thing about it, right? You got to be patient. We were in Colorado, every single person, especially after we got that award or whatever, they ran up to my table like I was something like, but like, how did you grow? How do you sell? And I'm just like, Rob did it.
Yeah.
Like, who are all these? I'm like, who are all these people? Because they're like, how do you sell? How do you we can't get leads. And I'm very fortunate to have somebody like this in our team. But yeah, it's very, very challenging. And you know it, man.
So Charlie, to that point, man, great segue. Yes, you got to close it. But I think even more difficult piece is don't be us, the smaller cleaning business owners is don't be so worried about the person that is a salesperson that's going to close. How are you uncovering and finding and prospecting? Which, Rob, that's where marketing comes in, right? Like a salesperson is nothing without leads and opportunities.
Right.
Opportunities
Yeah.
and leads are nothing without a closer. So like, talk to me about that relationship and why it's so important to start somewhere with, at $1 million cleaning company, like what kind of eyeballs and opportunities should a company try to shoot for?
Yeah, obviously it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be super high volume, but it depends a little bit on if you're willing to do, once a month cleaning, then of course you're going to have a lot more opportunities.
Yeah.
But trying to get that, again, if you focus on like your website, your the SEO part of it, maybe running some small ads, you can start generating some leads that way. That what I consider that was always what is now known as inbound marketing, trying to get people that are looking to find you. Then once you have those, that gives your sales reps something to do. But I would love to say that our sales reps are just taking 20 leads a day and having appointments, but nobody's really like that. This is a long sales cycle game. So the other thing you got to do is outreach. When you're on your own, you can do an awful lot with email, trying to reach out. You can do a lot of cold calling to reach out. Our sales reps focus on doing a lot of that outreach, but then also they do some stop-ins. They do a lot of networking events. That's been pretty successful. So they're trying to do prospecting themselves. And then when the marketing's adding leads to it, it's a nice combination that keeps them pretty busy.
Sure. And I think the biggest thing, Rick, I think when you first start off, when you don't have a lot of money, you have time. So, it's not sexy.
You gotta trade that time.
glamorous.
Yeah.
You got to just work like your tail's on fire, man.
I joke. I used to tell people, look for the brown paper. I was big on post cleaning. So like I found a lot of opportunities with post construction, and I was like, if there's brown paper up on the windows, get your ass in there. They didn't start window washing yet, so that means that there's room to clean.
Sure.
So that's funny. That reminds me of something. When I like first met him and we were riding around in his car, we're talking, I'm in a deep conversation. All of a sudden he just swerves in. I'm like, what are you doing? And he just stops, gets out of his car. He saw a construction trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Gets out of his car, just walks in, and I follow him. And like, you guys, know him. And it was just like he was talking their language. The foreman's there. What are you doing? Hey, when are you guys going to need to clean? You guys got a contractor to clean? And I mean, just watch him from the beginning to like nail it and get a job right there. Like he just saw that driving down the road and just didn't care. Pulled over, no appointment, no nothing. Just went in and walked into the trailer. And he's pretty good with, he's got a blue collar mentality, so he can talk to
And that's the point,
people like that.
Rob, I love that you said that too. Is like, I mean, we're in the blue collar space, right? Like this is an industry that's very difficult to tap into. I mean, I'm sorry, it's easy to break into. It's hard to retain and grow and build off of. But if you're real, you're genuine, you've got grit, and you've got that blue collar, easy, like family approach sometimes, you'd be surprised how many people will just open up and just,
I mean, at the end of the day,
share. Like, I'm looking for
the other
something.
day, they're humans too, right? Yeah. Like they have something to say. They want to talk. And then you have the relationship. You know what I mean? Yeah, I booked that. It was a Chase Bank right there on, where we put that Starbucks. So yeah, but they want to talk. They want to share, and then you have a relationship.
Yeah.
And who do you want to buy from? Somebody you like, know, and trust. Right?
So as we wrap up, you guys, like let's talk about. I always like to leave the audience. Right? Again, remember a lot of the audience, smaller to medium sized cleaning business owners, also larger size, looking to work with the smaller companies.
Sure.
And Rob, I'll start with you. Like being in the industry now, you didn't come from it. You didn't launch the cleaning company, right? But now that you're in it, living it, breathing it, and for those that may struggle with marketing or anything, obviously they can reach out to you. We're going to have your contact info and everything. But like, what are any other tips or shared experiences that you'd love to share?
Yeah. So I think when you really think about it, where most people that are going to go looking for a cleaning company, they're going to go online and it's going to be primarily in Google. So a good place to start is to have a website that's mobile friendly. And there's lots of great website builders that you can do. If you haven't heard about AI, you can actually get it to really, like it can write fantastic stuff. And it's enough to just put in there, hey, I need some content for this page. So take advantage of that. One of the bigger things you can do is think about how people are like searching for cleaning companies and think about the services you provide. I've seen a lot of cleaning companies that have a website and they maybe only have a home page, a page about their services, an about page, a contact page, and that's it.
Like the basics.
Yeah, it's a really good idea because of the way search is, the way people, or I guess the way Google looks at search. One of the things is based on the topic of the page. So it's really good idea to have like a page on floor cleaning, page on window cleaning, assuming you do this. If you do power washing, have a page on that. Have a page specifically on recurring janitorial. Have a page on construction cleaning. So having those specific pages, if someone was to, a lot of the search comes as what we call long tail. People will be like, cleaner for manufacturing plant. They will be floor cleaner for a warehouse. So if you have the floor cleaning page, even these bigger companies don't even have a floor cleaning page. You mentioned warehouse on that page, you've got a chance to show up. Maybe you're not going to be first right off the bat, but sooner or later you're going to start improving. Now you got to go in there and fill out your Google business profile like you mean it. Because a lot of people start their business profile, they put one or two sentences in there, they don't think about the description, they don't add any services, they don't have it. It's just like a very weak profile. And then you got to ask your customers for reviews. If you do those things, you're going to start ranking, and sometimes you'd be surprised how much higher you can rank than big companies, because the big companies in our industries are franchises. Those franchise owners don't know much more than you. As a matter of fact, I sometimes they just take what's given from the franchise, and they don't really do any of their own SEO either. So you have this advantage that if you just keep working on it every month, you can start bringing in leads without even doing anything else but just working hard. Then if you get past that, you can do some work on trying to learn how to do something with PPC ads, which would be Google ads and different type of lead gen. Then that's really the next step. Or hire an agency at that point if you have the budget for it.
And then I wanted to end on your part where, because you said it, you called that what though? What was it? What are those pages?
Landing pages.
But you call them magnets.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The page is a magnet. Yeah, exactly. It's a magnet for someone that's doing that search.
Yeah. So when he said that, I was like, man, what am I not doing? And I thought about it. I'm like, we were talking about there's certain service categories that we do even at Rosalato. I'm like, shit, I don't call it out though. Yeah. I don't. So it's like, man, if it's a magnet, I might as well be doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
So Charlie, what would you love to leave? What would you like to leave the audience with? Obviously, you're the business owner. You started it. You're living and breathing it every day. Those that the first couple of years are a struggle, and they may not have a team around them. What are some thoughts or advice you'd give them?
Yeah, man. I think really the big thing is when you first start off is knowing the person that you are inside, right? Why did you set out to be a business owner, and then identify your B goal, right? So you're at A, you have B goal, and how do you get to your B goal as fast as you can and then reevaluate, but understand in the gap and the gain where then you have gratitude for how far you've come, but then know that where you have to get to, because it's tough, man. It's really hard when you're sitting out there mopping a floor and then 2 a.m, want to know what the hell am I doing with my life? Yeah. My buddies are out partying, people are hanging out, it's the weekend, here I am mopping a floor. And now, to fast forward.
You happy you were mopping those floors?
100%.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, and a lot of people, it's real easy to get down on yourself and get hard, and, life comes at you. You can get married and kids and other things come in, but it's just one of those things where you have to reevaluate those B goals all the time and understand the person that you are and where you want to get to, right? A lot of people want to just sit and manage, but if you're ambitious and you're hungry and you want to get there, it's North America, man. Yeah. I mean, there's endless pieces of the pie to eat. Anybody that wants to win, if you're good enough, you'll win. Yeah. And just don't get discouraged and keep going, man.
And there's a great community out there, right?
100%.
Surround yourself with people that actually matter instead of, again, think about who you're asking about or who you're venting to.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And any people that watch this or in the following or anybody else, we're all here to help. Yeah. You reach out and ask questions, or you guys have developed an unbelievable way to help that community. We're all here to help, man. Yeah. Because we've all been there. We understand, and especially those early days. I mean, those are branded in our brain. Oh, yeah. How we started in the chaos and
I got some scars. I got some scars.
PTSD, but that's why it's all gray right here. That's why I'm wearing a hat. Yeah. So,
Ricky, listening to these guys, what's a takeaway or takeaways?
I'm just thankful for all the information that you guys share, for being so open, because some people don't like to share.
Yeah.
I'm actually learning. As we do this podcast, I'm learning, I'm taking notes, mental notes. And I mean, nothing else than just being thankful for you guys to come over here and do this podcast.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's, we thank you and your team as well. And I think this is just, when the seed's planted in the ground and then, you know what it grows into. I think that's definitely what this relationship has started, and I can't wait to see what it flourishes into.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys.
Incredibly thankful.
Cheers. Cheers. All right, Clean and Cocktails family, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.